hello. I'm Masayo. I'd like to try communicating in English. So I'm going to try out an English podcast to practice my English. So I lived in Portland, Oregon, from age 5 to 6. So I had a full of ear listening comprehension, but I couldn't speak at the time. The only thing I could say was, "How are you? How old are you? No, thank you. You're welcome." Stuff like that. So when I returned to Japan, I went to an English conversation school, 英会話, once a week. But some of the children there were bad, so my mother told me I didn't need to go, and I was able to quit. I studied English hard in high school because I love music like Radiohead, Bjork, Blur. But even passing the Aiken Grade 2 exam was not enough to get me to the level where I could speak. Therefore, Japanese kids in high school or university feel ashamed of themselves, wondering why they can't speak English despite studying so much, and lose confidence in themselves, thinking they are useless. At least I felt that way. That was the case for my generation. I was born in 1983 and I'm now 42 years old. I guess this was a strategy by the Japanese government. I guess the Japanese government thought that if they produced a lot of people who could speak English by the time they graduated from high school, everyone would leave for America or Sweden or somewhere, Singapore, China, At least for Japanese women, going abroad seems more attractive than living in a society obsessed with lookism, where silence and patriarchal conformity are expected. Where I think kids today can speak a little more because the level of English education has improved a little. But the trend from the 1990s, when skinny, fair-skinned girls who don't understand or say anything difficult were preferred, has remained almost unchanged. I feel like that. Have you heard of the ancient Chinese culture of tying women's feet tightly, confining them to their homes until they were unsteady on their feet, and turning them into pale, frail-looking, fair-skinned beauties, which is considered sexy in ancient China? In Japanese, it's tensoku. Tensoku means foot binding. It is a culture that says that a tanned woman working in the field is not sexy or noble. It means that I have enough money that my wife doesn't need to work in the field. It is a culture that sacrifices women to show men's status. I once met a young Chinese woman who said her grandmother had a bound feet. She said her grandmother's feet were in terrible pain and she couldn't even walk. She said that binding foot was a very bad custom, and I feel the same. I believe this aesthetic sense was brought to ancient Japan from China. It was probably influenced by the patriarchal Confucianism that is prevalent in East Asia. It's not a racial idea that white European women are beautiful, but rather an aesthetic sense that originated in ancient Chinese culture, which states that noble women are not tanned and stay indoors all day, hiding. I'd like to strongly object to such things because I feel that the sense of confining girls in their homes is similar to what Muslim men do to women who wear hijabs or niqabs today. I think it is a very immature society to think that it is okay to sacrifice women in order to make a male-dominated society run smoothly, and not even realizing that women are feeling uncomfortable. For example, many people eat ham sandwiches, fried chicken, and hamburgers on a daily basis. But how many of us realize that our current society is built on the enormous sacrifices made by pigs, chickens, and cows, all girls, and the immense stress they cause to producers and their children? And how many of us actually care about those cows, chickens, pigs, and producers? Some people will get angry and tell you not to talk about such troublesome, dark topics. I think it's close to that. After releasing a self-produced CD, I studied English diligently on my own for about 8 years, starting around 2014. I realized that I couldn't speak English without knowing the words and idioms, so I memorized all of them. Recently, I started writing songs again after a long time, and when I thought about writing lyrics, I gave up on writing in English for the time being, and tried to write in Japanese for Japanese people. However, while living in Japan, the more I tried to write songs in Japanese for Japanese people, the more suffocated I felt, and I realized that I couldn't express what I wanted to say exactly. I somehow think this is probably close to what African Americans have felt in America for many years. I was watching a video of Ben E. King, the singer of Stand By Me, saying in an interview that he always had to smile when singing in front of white people. And as a Japanese woman, I could relate to that. It seems to me that Japanese men expect women to be silent, calm, always smiling, and undisputed. I sensed this same frustration and dilemma in Michael Jackson's lyrics and singing style, and I empathize with his feelings. Recently, with the rise of K-pop, I feel like that 90s trend is making a comeback. I really dislike this trend of being fair-skinned and thin to please men and make money. As the global economy becomes poorer overall, perhaps the trend of living frugally and save and use poor girls to make money is making a comeback, I feel. Just like Oiran geisha culture in Edo period to 1940s, I guess. Maybe I talked about something a little serious, but I'm going to continue practicing speaking about things that come to mind in English. Anyway, thank you for listening. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.